Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, February 22nd, 2016. And that's the absolute worst timed phone call ever. 1 second. As I was going to say, I also forgot to calibrate my webcam, so it'll be 1 second for that. I should really just restart over, but why not? Some days you have fails, and best to roll with them, right? Okay, so what we were working on last time was trying to figure out how to place pieces in the level, what would be the best way to store the tiles in our level, what would be the best way to store our pieces in the level, for a couple different reasons. One major one being that one thing that causes a lot of bugs is state in programs. State is basically the how would I define it? The state of, but like without using the word state, the properties and arrangement of things in memory of some sort. The problem with that is if you have redundant state, like if you have the same action or same piece of data being represented in two different places and they're out of sync, then you're going to have problems with bugs. Maybe you didn't update one, or maybe one has been deleted, the other one hasn't, and stuff like that. You end up having these synchronization issues. You try to minimize that. The problem is sometimes it's not avoidable because you have data represented in one way that's the only way to represent it for performance in one way, but then you have another thing you want to do with it that can't be represented fast in that method, so you have to make another structure that's fast for that mechanism, but it's not fast the other way around, right? So one good example of this is if you have a bunch of objects in the scene and you want to loop through all of, this is like my problem, and you want to loop through all of them several times for one reason or another. What you could do is you could tell Unreal Engine to say, all of the spawned tiles in the world, in our case, look through every one of them and let me do something to each one of them, which is usually check to see if it matches the value and then do what we need to if it's the right one. We could also then store a second list of those tiles in one of our objects that we can manage, but if we accidentally delete one of them, we have to make sure it's synchronized. When we start dealing with, it was easier in the first game because each tile was the same. When we change from a special tile to a regular tile, all we do is we flip, it's the same object, we just flip a state in the object, and then it gets represented differently. The problem is, with our new system, we're trying to make it so it switches. So if we switch tile from a normal tile to special tile, we're actually deleting the tile and creating a new one. So which means I have to then link, if I create my list separate, I then have to unlink the one we had and plug the new one back in. Possibly including in game runtime, which is fine if we have the level manager take care of all the creation and destruction of the tiles and there's no bugs in it. Ideally what we like to do is to have the engine do all of that because it's already doing it anyway. It has to know if it needs to draw it, so it has to keep track of it inside its own internal data, right? But if, you know, we need to loop through 4,000 tiles several times a frame, which we won't, but then we do. If Unreal Engine takes forever to go through its. Like, let's say it takes a lot of random memory access. So one thing you'll end up being quick is processors. If you say, I want access data slot 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go for 0, and it says, I'm going to set fetch 0 through 8, just in case. And then when it comes to number 1, it says, oh, I already got that. Don't need to grab it from memory, it's already here. 2, don't need to get that. 3, don't need to get that. But if you have a data structure that says, I want 0, 12, 5, 18, you know, and it keeps going all over the place, it says 0, 12, 12's not when the 8 I grab, so I have to fetch a new thing. Oh, I need one over back here now, so I need to fetch this and keep going back and forth. You're starting to thrash memory, and you're starting to cause performance slowdown. Hello, KO2 fan. If Unreal Engine's mechanism has, for example, all tiles, like all objects of the same, or actors of the same class, sorted by class, like stacked together, then since we're doing them all, it won't matter if we make our own data slot, or our own data collection of them, because Unreal Engines will be just as fast. But it might not be, we don't know. I was actually on Twitter asking a bunch of people for this earlier, and also on Unreal Engine IRC, but didn't get any straight answers, so we're going to be trying to do some micro-benchmarks of that, which means, well, there's a bunch of ways of doing it. The way we're going to do it, what's up with the mod? Are you drawing it? Yeah, it's a Wacom Cintiq 22 HD. So I'll show you. Yep. It's got the. Yep. I bought it probably 4 years ago now, something around there. It was when the 22 HD first came out, before the Touch. So yeah, now we're in Unreal Engine. Welcome to the stream, by the way. So we're now in a test level, and there are 32 by 32 chess tiles, which is significantly more than... Oh, what will happen if I press play? Okay, so it won't crash. Good. Okay. So it's a, you know, it's significantly more than a standard chess game. Normal chess is 64 of them, so 8 by 8. This is 32 by 32, which is 1024. Yeah. So we have that. Now we need to benchmark. So what we're going to do is we're going to... Oh, I don't think I can do that until I can make a player controller. So what I was going to do is have... I can do it. What I want to do is I want to have a button I can press that just fires off a function that does a big test of whatever I need to do, but just a big chunk of code. And then in the profiler, I'll measure and be like, well, I pressed the button at this point. It took how long to do. That'll give us a rough idea of how much performance it takes up. So it'll probably do like 1,000 or 10,000 searches of all actors in the scene. If it takes like 10 milliseconds, then that means, you know, if we can do 10,000 in a single frame, that's fine. If it's a lot more than that, or a lot less than that, that's a problem, right? So, yeah, we'll need to see. In order for me to do that, I have to be able to start it at a given point. Trying to think of how I would do that. Okay, well, first off I go to project settings, because I need to set up a input system regardless. So action mapping, new action, micro benchmark. And we will bind that to keyboard. Let's go keyboard P. And then that's all saved. Okay. Oh, unless I can make it a console command. I could probably do that. Okay, so let's actually stop this. Let's create load the stream. This is probably a better way of doing it. That way I won't need a player controller, I'll just need to enter a console command. So I think it's just a exec function, but I could be wrong. Engine for C++ console command. Let's look at the list of questions in an answer hub. That's not what I want to do, but let's hope that they say what I do want to do in the preamble to it. I mean, I could also... That was a phone again from the song. I could also have a boolean in the editor, flip, and so forth. Some weird slowdowns, but it looks like it's not on my end because my stream is still going fine. Get World X. So let's do this UE4 API reference world. API world exec How can I create custom console commands? There we are. In C++, use U function exec. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so let's try this. Let's actually do one more thing too. Let's see here. So U function exec. Okay, so pawn, player controller, cheat manager, game mode, player input, and HUD. Okay, so I still need to create a custom player controller anyway. So yeah, let's do that. Alright, so let's create a C++ class. Yeah, let's do it like this. So, what do I want to call that? Let's try base player controller. Doesn't seem to be complaining. Create class. So this will store the basic player controller stuff. I'm not sure if I'm going to need custom ones. I might need some for certain game modes or whatever, but we'll try to use base player controller as much as possible. There's not going to be a whole lot of different things that the there we are. That the player controller can really do. Let's close down check-it.h. I'm not going to need it anymore. I should actually open up my previous one too, so I know what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the previous one I had, where I had scroll speed, zoom speed, and stuff like that. It was just basically the camera controls, and a couple functions to rotate the camera and so forth, which all linked into this. Okay, so we need to create a default constructor. Do I need object initializer? No, I don't. Okay, so let's just make it be a base player controller, but have it be public as well. Because you typically want to have the constructor be public, otherwise you'll have some problems. I'm actually not sure about C++ for that. I know some... I know some other ones have some problems. So b show mouse cursor equals true. Hi, welcome to the chat. We want to enable click events so we can click on tiles. And last time I had default mouse cursor be the grab hand, which I believe is kind of like the click for the links. How long have I been doing this? Shellberg, I've started this project back in November 2014. I'll actually show you what we had back then, off screen, of course. 1 second. Package targets, check it, no editor. There we are. So this, whenever it loads, is what we had back in what we started back in November, and what we've had actually this November. So this is one level, not the primary level, and I didn't actually work in the post-processing on this. The light was a bit blown out, let's just say that much, but you can click and move But one interesting thing is that it's not like regular chess where it's front and back. Like, you know, one player goes one way, the other player goes the other. You can have some other maneuvers because there is no front and back. For a standard chessboard level, it doesn't make sense, but or it makes, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense because there is a designated front and back. But if you had, for example, a map like this, then it can get out of hand quickly if pawns can only move forward unless they eat something. This is obviously not 8x8 grid. This is a bit more than that. And this is what we were at last December. It was just after the 1-year anniversary that I decided to do the start over. So what I was doing was I was trying to make this be a one versus AI demo. Oh, thanks, Shelberg. And also the post-processing's a little bit more in line, like the lens flares are more subtle than just melt your screen. And again, it's 1 versus AI in this case, so the AI slowly makes moves based on what you do. You can go off and grab some more horses here, knights I should say. And I created most stable, didn't fix the light maps for it, and I used a couple assets. This was not mine, but the rest of stable was, apart from materials of course. The materials were, well, the wood material was mine, as you can see, really crappy stuff, but the brick and the marble was not mine. Same, I made this entire bridge, but the brick and the marble were example content. And then we have the tiles and so forth. So it's a bit more expanded. As for this, as for this right here, now that I'm able to license the music and put everything on YouTube. Ah, thanks. It says it's amazing to see the behind the scenes of the game. That's honestly what my goal of the stream is. I'm hoping that the game won't be the product, the stream will be. I'm hoping that there will be enough people interested in it that either by ad revenue or Patreon or something will help me be able to make this stream be the product. Have this stream be what drives people to this, and use the game as, well, an excuse to have a webcam turn on, as well as the kind of like a loss leader, something that I can give away to people to have them play it, right? Because I'm not really much for microtransactions or anything like that. I prefer to just, you know, not even sell the game, just release it if I could. Obviously, I need to eat, so that's not gonna, that may not work if I have no plan for revenue, but hoping that I'll get enough people who are interested in this, in the behind the scenes of the games, that they'll like playing it as well as watching me do it. This, I started on Friday. So, I'm basically, the original game was locked to 1 versus AI, it's supposed to be a demo. But now that I can put stuff on YouTube because Monster Cat lets you license the music directly. Now I can put it on YouTube. I'm starting from scratch like I would have after I did the demo. So I'm starting a little bit earlier, but, you know. And basically what happened was I was working on the original source of the game, and it was painful. Like, the code to validate how you can move, there was 3 different instances of it in 3 different spots for 3 different reasons. So if the AI and the player moved, they're actually calculating the valid tiles in different ways. They should be identical ways, but they weren't, right? So I ended up having bugs, and I was just beating my head against the wall. I said, you know what, screw it. Let's just have it be done. Do it right for now. Anyway, so this is where we are. Now what we're doing today is we're going to try to create a player controller so that I can test to see how fast some functions are. Because right now what I'm trying to find out is whether I should keep track of what all these tiles are, or whether I should let Unreal Engine do that and just ask it. The problem is if asking in Real Engine is too slow for my application, I may have to do it my own way, as well as Unreal Engine taking care of it, which means I have to keep track of 2 different states, and yeah, that's a problem. It's much easier when you can just say, hey, Epic, do this, but if it doesn't work the way you need it to, you may have to do it some other things. Okay, so I'm going to avoid all of this other stuff here. I should be fine. Just needing input. So I am using Unreal Engine 4, yes. Actually, this is the same function I used earlier to do it. I call it trigger debug action, and I press a button and it would cause stuff to happen. Which avoids setup input component override. Okay, so I need to add that function into and what this does is it lets the player controller add buttons to press, basically. And then I can use Unreal Engine to map those to button presses. So I press a button, Unreal Engine says, player controller, it says do the input components. And the player controller says, hey, override that, add mine to it. And Unreal Engine says, okay. So when you press a button, it then says, okay, what function should I call? As well as all the other stuff that's parented to it. And it runs that, and then I can kind of hook my own actions into button presses. Basically, I'm saying, train, come to my station, let myself get on, and then go to what you need to do, right? Okay, so yeah. Void setup input components. And then over here, this was just adding a couple binds. So we need to start off with super setup input component, which basically means I'm overriding you, but still do everything you're going to do without me. Did I forget something? Oh, yes, I need to do super. I think that's right. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm lost in how you are doing code. Thanks for explaining what you're doing. That's the point, right? It's, if you even get a little bit out of this educationally, that's great. Hey Scott, where have you been? It's been a long time. Basically, I was trying to relaunch the stream. I was working on things like, for example, this bumper animation and other stuff like that. But after I finished that, I was going to say, okay, when Unreal Engine launches 4.11, let's keep going. And they started in December, and it's still not launched yet, so I was like, okay, preview 5, okay, I'm going to jump on that train, right? Something I'm not understanding about this. Oh well. Yes, this is still check it actually. I'm basically doing the relaunch where if you look on my YouTube channel, I can put it on the chat. YouTube.com. I don't have a custom channel name because I need more subscribers. I need at least at least 100 for YouTube to let me have my own custom name channel. But this is the channel in the chat. You can now watch the on-demand recordings of all of the stuff I do. And I just realized I had to do some source control because I didn't do it last night. cd /unreal projects check _it. Get status. Right. I need to add the piece, so git add source check it private piece.cpp. Tile.cpp. This is the stuff I did last night. Have an h and piece.h. Status, get commit m. What did I finish last night? It was I'll say finish stream number 3. Okay. You should really be using source tree. Okay, so I have tried several different Git GUIs. They all, for some reason, particularly when I was working on projects the size of like Unreal Tournament or whatever, they all are very laggy. Like, lock the computer up for 5 minutes. It's probably me. It's probably something I did incorrectly, but I just have not had enough performance with anything besides Git command line for anything that's more than the small project. If it's a larger project, I do, or if it's a smaller project, I do the GitHub app, just use it directly, but when I start having, you know, more issues with it, I just switch to Git command line. So I have you source tree from that one's Atlassian, right? That one's the Atlassian one. Yeah, source tree is the Atlassian one. We use HipChat for our company, Peach Perspective, where I work. But and actually, it was my coworkers that tried to say, "Hey, use source tree," but it just did not work for me. It just kept lagging all over the place. So I had the GitHub app too at the same time, so I can't really complain. Okay, here. So we'll do input components. Why are you complaining? Oh, duh. Okay. Right. That could be a big problem if I don't actually have it be a member of a class. That could cause some issues. Bind action. We will call it debug performance. Why not? And then we'll have the thing be IE pressed. So when pressed, this, and then we will bind a delegate, function delegate, a base player controller, debug performance. You've done it before, yeah, everyone's done it before. It's a common mistake that I make regularly. So now we can do void a base player controller And then it would be debug performance thing, what was I called it? Yeah. And then we can have our Microbenchmark code there, and then we will have to add this here. So void debug performance. So this should compile no problem. So if I press compile in here, not part of the class. Okay, thanks, you Edward. Oh, I got a lot of people joining. Is they get retweeted or something? No. So have you all found me through Twitch? Come on, wake up, Unreal. There we are. And it worked, good. So now in the world settings, we need to set our game mode, check it game mode. How do we do that? Yeah. Try to make it use my player controller without creating a game mode. Wrong one. Just so people don't know, this is actually the game that I was making before the relaunch. This is what I'm going to end up having as well. I'm just trying to program it properly. First off, allow more than just one versus AI. As you can see, the plate pieces are doing really crazy stuff. Like, I think the queen actually either disappeared or it went off to a place where it can't actually go. No, the queen actually disappeared, it looks like. It despawned. It was buggy. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it looks like it completely despawned. Wow. I mean, there's gonna be more queens up here, but that's not the one I was talking about. Pretty bad when your AI says, "What's the appropriate move? Leave the world." Yeah, it was buggy. But we're gonna eventually create that. Just do it in a proper way and one that's more generalized. So I can add 1 versus 1, 2v2, 10v10 maybe. There's no, like, Unreal Engine doesn't limit how many players you have. Yeah. Oh, cool. Thanks, Shelberg. Said they said they sent a couple followers my way. Sort of, yeah. I've experienced programming, but not game development. Cool. So, what have you all created, if you create anything at all? And I don't even mean game development or programming development. It could be art, could be anything. I find a lot of people in creative, or other creative types that kind of float between each other's channels. Maybe not even the same discipline, just they find creating in general interesting. Okay. Why are you doing that? Okay, so let's actually shut. Let's try recompiling. The pieces move as actual chess pieces, sort of. There's a couple of differences. First off, pawns can move in any of the 4 directions and eat in any of the 4 directions. This is because I can't exactly prevent, like, if a pawn comes up to a wall, I can't make it go around if it can only go up or diagonal, right? So I allow it to move 1 space in any direction. Other than that, it's basically the same. There's not going to be any, like, en passant or anything like that, or castling or whatever, because it doesn't make sense if you have a design level. I might create analogies to that later on, but it acts otherwise like a regular chess pieces. Yeah. Okay, so it's building fun. I'm not sure what Visual Studio hates then. Okay, right. So first what I'm gonna do is add let's commit this, so git add source check it. Whoops. Private base player controller. One thing I actually don't really like about this is that the regular GitHub one gotta say it's really interesting. Just a cable tech need to learn a time before I'd even attempt this. Okay, so Shellberg. So one of my basic, I have 2 degrees. One's in physics, one's in education, and one of the things I really focus on is education. And the best way to learn something is to do something. So one thing a lot of people get stuck up on, and I do that too as well, is spending all your time researching. And if you watch my videos, you'll see that I spend a lot of time researching and kind of thinking ahead. But the best way to learn is to actually do it. And when you get stuck, then research what you have a problem with at that point in time. And you'll find that you'll start creating things altogether. And the best part of that is, unlike schools where your motivation is grades, when you're doing your own project, your motivation is getting the project done. And it's actually, depending on personality types and how much project means to you or whatever, it can actually be a much greater driving factor to learning how to do something, because you actually care about what you're creating. If you're doing an assignment, you don't necessarily care that, you know, question 1 through 15 is factored correctly, right? Apart from the grade you get at the end, right? So just do it. Unreal Engine 4 is free, so is Unity, so is basically, you know, there's also Amazon Lumberyard, there's also CryEngine. I'm not sure CryEngine is free, I think it is. There's a lot of free engines. You're losing nothing, just do it. I'm using Blender, that's free. I'm using Photoshop, that's not free. But I have a license for it for other reasons. I work for a computer website for my actual job. But if you don't have Photoshop, you can use GIMP, you can use a bunch of other things as well. It might be a bit more complicated based on what you have. The workflow may be different, but that's one thing you have to learn through if you actually care about doing something. Now, if you just want to create a game, you don't have any game ideas, then I'm not sure. You may end up just setting yourself up to this big thing and you don't actually have the motivation for it, so you may not do it. But yeah, if you certainly if you have motivation, just do it. Don't worry about having someone tell you when you can do it. Just do it. If you don't have the motivation to it, I'm not saying don't do it. Obviously, that's terrible advice. It just depends on what you actually care about, and do that if possible. I can't really say a general term of it, but if you have something in your head you want to make, just make it. And if you can't, that's the goal of trying to make it will help you. You have no artistic skills? Okay. There's a video game, I think it was called Thomas Was Alone. It was entirely boxes. The player character was a rectangle. No one cares, right? So it doesn't matter if you really have any artistic skills. And even still, even if you do want that, let's show you something. Oh. After we update. You can also start working on something basic 2D stuff, like a framework like a SDL2 before trying something huge like Unreal Engine 4. I mean, all an engine is basically, come on, wake up. All an engine is basically an API and tools. So it doesn't, it's all about the tools, right? It doesn't matter how you do stuff. But yeah, if you don't like doing art, I'm not going to say how much money you have, but there is plenty of assets you can use to start off with, or you can use it to learn Blender if you want to learn how to draw or create in 3D. At some point, I'll actually show a couple of things on my stream of creating art in Blender. I do have the... I may actually put the initial 72-hour stuff on as a separate playlist, because it does have... I do have it first off in my computer still, and it does show the way I made the chess pieces, which is actually pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't have everything I've done from November. But yeah, some of these things are actually free, like for example, Epic. I'm not sure if they added it in the marketplace or if it's somewhere else, but they have the Infinity Blade assets. Those are gigabytes of content that are just free. Epic is just releasing it. And apparently they're in December 31st, 1969. But yeah, they released all these assets completely for free. And you just place them in your level, use them as you want, no one cares. There might be some things you actually do want to create, and that's fine. And that'll be when you learn. But yeah, you can do stuff without learning how to draw, and or create art. And conversely, if you know how to do art, you don't know how to program, you can do a bunch of things using blueprints and stuff like that as well to make more simple stuff while you build it up and learn. Now the question is, if you have this big chunk of stuff that you need to learn, what do you start tackling on? What do you start doing? That requires a lot of self-discipline, but you can do it, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing it. All right. Okay, so debug performance. So which means in the stuff I need to create a function called debug performance, or an action called debug performance. And I will eventually make it a console command probably, but for now I'm going to do what I know. Action mappings, debug performance. And we'll map that again to keyboard P. Again, I was going to do a console command, but I'm not going to bother right now. Welcome to the chat. And also, I'll put my YouTube back in as well. I think this is it. If I get a bunch of subscribers, I think 100 is what YouTube requires. If I get 100, I'll actually be able to name it youtube.com/whatever, instead of having that ugly mess of a hash. Which would be beneficial. Okay, so now I'll save the level. I was hoping I could override without creating my own game mode, but yeah. Guess I'll have to make my own game mode. Crummy. It'll be a simple game mode though. Base. Let's say base chess game mode. Because I'm not sure if I end up expanding earlier and I want to have something that parents this or side this, I may want it separate. So I'll create that class. And all I'll basically do in this game mode, I'll show you this over here with Visual Studio Code. From the previous game mode, all I'll have to do is basically just say what my default player controller class is. And that's pretty much all you need to do for that. This is some stuff for AI threading. And this is a couple other things I did for the actual game itself. We're not doing that just yet. All we need to do is actually link our player controller into the game. And previously you were allowed to set these directly with a overridden game mode, but apparently it's not letting you do that anymore. Not sure if that's a 4.11 bug or just something that changed. Right, so here we are. Now, base game mode here. So then we'll create a base chess game mode. Then again, hopefully we won't forget to do player controller class equals a base player controller. I need to actually add that include, but 1 second. A base player controller static class. It basically says I don't need an instance of it. I want the actual class itself to be attached to here. It says it doesn't know what it's doing. That's because I haven't included it yet. Base player controller.h. Bingo. So now when I do a compile, I should have this drop down all of a sudden allow me to attach base game mode, which will then have the base player controller. Maybe you can someday make a how to start with an Unreal Engine 4 boilerplate project and show the minimum getting a running project. Technically did that in episode 1. This is basically how it started, just a basic project. Although if what you're saying is maybe have some side projects that are smaller or whatever, and have that be kind of like theme days of the stream, I'm actually planning on doing something like that. I'm planning on calling it 20% day, which is where I have projects that are not directly related to Check It, but would be interesting for people to see. So base chess game mode here, base player controller, good, let's save that. Now when we, oh, first I need to, get, add, or sorry, get, yeah, add, I know what I'm doing. Source, check it, private, base chess game mode.cpp. And I keep wanting to put a semicolon after that. Okay. So now when we press play, we can do whatever we want, but we'll also have the ability to press P and have that fire off functions. Currently it's bound to, well, it's bound to a comment, which is parsed out by the compiler. So it's bound to do literally nothing, but we could have, for example, what was that comment earlier? It was it level manager? Where we create the debug? Yeah, UE log. So UE log class, don't know what's... I'll just make it a warning. It's not really what I want, but whatever. And then we'll change the text to be debug performance started. I'm gonna comment that out because I don't want it to bug my performance, but I just want to make sure that the button press does what I think it does. And we'll see that in the content browser, wherever that went. Oh, it's locked up. Okay. Gotta turn off my webcam for a second while I blow my nose. 1 second. So the question, when we use Unreal Engine, do we have to use C++? No. We can do a lot of things in... where's it? Message log. There we are. So now when we play in game, and we press P, or P, or is it the output log? Oh, okay, here. When we press P, we run the function, which is good. So now we know that it works. So let's start by adding our function. So what we want to do is we want to test the performance of TActorItr. So if I let's see what my TActorItr is. Okay, so just want to make sure I remember the syntax for it. So let's do for TActorItr a tile actor-iter get world actor-iter plus actor-iter. I think I need to do I need to include that, or do I need to? I probably need to include that. Okay. Okay. A tile current tile equals dereference of the actor-iter. Current tile location dot x int32 x equals, yeah, sure. I'm basically just getting something from it for each time. Okay. So now we can have this be for int 32 I equals 0, I less than 1000, I plus plus. So I'm going to see how long it takes to do 1,000 searches for every tile in a level, and doing something on each one of them. You may think, oh, it's just going to stutter the game, doesn't necessarily do anything, but I'm then going to profile it and see what happens. And there's gotta be something weird with this. It seems to be locking up the compiler right before it finishes. I'm assuming it has to be an Unreal Engine bug. And by the way, just so you know, this, as I was saying earlier, this stream is designed to be kind of open conversation, to have a good stream. So don't worry about interrupting me working or whatever. Just ask questions, just say stuff. Could ask me what I had for breakfast today. I didn't have anything, but still. Yeah, just, you know, could be whatever. This has to be a bug for it taking so long to compile. Hopefully it'll be fixed in a future version before Unreal Engine 4.11 launches. Or if it is my fault, I figure out what it is. And sorry, I have a kind of a fairly directional mic, but I have monitors that are not facing it. As you can kind of see, it's pretty big. It's a pretty huge mic that really takes up. I mean, this is a 22-inch monitor. It really takes up a lot of the room, so it's hard for me to talk into the mic and still have a monitor that I can't see through it, right? What gave you the idea to make this game? What did I have breakfast today? Thanks, Durs. Nothing. I was gonna eat breakfast, but I ended up skipping it until supper. Which is not a good thing to do, but that's what I did. What gave me the idea for this game? Frankly, I was hearing about a game jam from PewDiePie, and I was like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to do. And I was laying in bed, and I had the idea. Okay, and I decided to do that. Oh, what was it called again? It was bug. Okay, I can't remember what the what the start command was anymore. I know what to do with it once you have it, but I can't remember what the actual command was anymore. It was stat. Oh, it was I think it was stat. It was a stat. Oh, start file. Yeah, that's what it was. And now, so now I have that. It's gonna be saved in some debug folder. Now I can open it up session front end. And profiler, unload the one I just created. Which was 22nd of February at 9:42. That's this one here. Okay, now it's loading and it's seeing a spike, and that's probably, this spike right here is probably where my microbenchmark happens. Okay, so now oh, sorry, is it still a chess game? Yes, it's still a chess game. Why I decided to program this project in C++? Okay, sorry, I forgot to finish the original question. So I was just laying in bed when there was a game jam I was thinking of. I'm like, wouldn't it be kind of fun to have play a game of chess where it was on design levels? And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to be doing. I wasn't even sure if I was going to actually play the do the game jam before then, but I decided at that point to do it. So why did I say the program is project in C++? Part of it's because I actually have more experience with C++. Than I do with blueprints, so I kind of stuck with that. And also when you're dealing with relatively simple objects, but a lot of them, that you can just do like a couple lines or things like that. C++ is pretty good for that. For what I tend to do, it tends to be C++ for the base classes, and when I start making variations, like if I need a tile to do something special in a level, I'll use, for like level scripting, I'll use blueprints for that. But that's just me. And is it still a chess game? Yep. So people who have been here before, this is what the original game looked like. It was buggy. Like earlier on today I showed, for some reason, the king decided to, or sorry, the queen decided to spawn. I'm not sure what it was thinking, but its chosen move was to disappear from the world. But yeah, this was the one of the levels we were creating here. There's gonna be a probably still gonna be a castle here. I'm probably gonna recreate this level at some point. It's a pretty good design. And the throne room, you'd have a choice between 2 queens based on whatever your team was. But it was locked to 1 versus AI, and I had a bunch of other nasty things with it, and I didn't really like releasing a demo to fix it, right? So I eventually decided, let's just go back and do it right. So it looks like 1,000 iterations do about 1 second. So actually almost exactly 1 second. 1 second, some fraction of a millisecond. So, one thing I can do is try a new level. Terminate player and editor, yep. Okay, and let's get rid of that, and then let's have a new, where'd my browser go? Here we are. So then we will add another level manager, and we're going to increase the size of the level by 4. So double, and we'll generate, and we'll have even more. Ones will now have 4,000 as opposed to 1,000. So then when we do play an editor, and then we do stats start file, and we press P, stats stop file, and it'll give us a bit more of an idea of what we're doing. So let's go back here to session front end. Now let's load a new one, which was our second one here. And now obviously this is our big spike, so let's go over here, go to maximum. Taking more time, but I can't see what that exact value is. I used to know how to read this. So I'll just give us an idea of how much performance we're taking. Oh man. That was a game thread. Okay, so player controller tick was 900 milliseconds. Let's see what it was in the other one. Let's go back and load the first capture, which is 1,000 units. Or 1,000 tiles, I should say. And then let's go back to game, player controller. Oh, here is so the tick was 107, whereas the other one was 900. So an increase of factor 4 increased it by a factor of 10. Doesn't make sense. I know I'm not using this correctly, but huh. Come on. Play controller tick. Oh, process input was 107. Okay. I'm gonna have to read up on how to properly profile. So apparently that one actually hit almost a second. 4,000 iterations of getting every actor in the world. Okay, so now instead of this, let's instead grab a list. So let's do T-Ray. A tile list of tiles equal, or yeah, sure, why not? List of tiles dot reserve. Let's do 96. Ideally, I would not do this in the same. Actually, I don't even need to. I say ideally I wouldn't do this in the same. What's it called? Begin play? I can't forget. Begin play, I think it is. Yeah, begin play. So I'm going to have this setup code be in begin play. And then I will have this be right here. And I'll have this. Be here, and then do instead of this, have list of tiles dot add current tile. So I'm going to add all the tiles here, so that way when I do an actual iteration, I will not have to worry about the performance of actually grabbing the list. So for int I equals 0, I less than list of tiles. Oh, I need to add that to here. Because that'll just disappear once begin play ends. Right. Tiles, I plus plus. Oh, I didn't save that yet. That would help. And then we'll do int32 x equals current tile location dot x dot num. Oh, sorry. Now when we compile this, hello, welcome to the chat. So now when we compile this, we will be testing the other case, if it compiles. Two field arguments. Got to for declare. It's like, wait a minute, I don't know what that is. You're asking me to create lists of nothing, right? And whenever this wakes up, it'll hopefully finish compiling and I'll be able to do what I need to. So on begin play, once the game starts, it will grab all the tiles in the level, save them to a list, and not touch them. And then I can loop through them and see how long that takes. Oh, did I actually, oh no, yeah, whoops. Yeah, that won't work until I do that. I need to wait for Unreal Legend to unlock first. Let's actually see if closing down check it will help. It's taking a surprising amount of time to compile a game for small changes. I'm actually tempted to close down the editor and just, you know, create instead of hot reload, but what's lagging anyway? Yeah, so Unreal Engine is doing something. Using a lot of performance. Yeah, I'm gonna close it down. Okay. So now I'm gonna rebuild it from here. Actually, I shouldn't have even done that. I should have changed that. Again, and let's do for int j equals 0, j less than 1,000, j plus plus. And now let's build it. So now we'll see equivalently 1,000 runs of this versus 1,000 runs of that, what the difference in performance will be. So this is for the 1,000 tile run. So stat start file here. Press P. Stat stop file. Looks like it was significantly easier. The session front end. And I know if I was, you know, smart, I would have it run as a standalone. I would also have it. If I was actually really caring about performance, have it run standalone, have it run with the editor closed or minimized or whatever, but just doing a little bit. Okay. Guessing this is the spot here where it spiked. Let's look at the player controller. Looks like that was our spike. Try adding another digit to this. Again, this could take a significantly smaller amount of time because all of the items are contiguous in memory, right? So instead of thrashing our RAM being like, I need this one, I need this one, I need this one, I'll say I'll need this one, and the processor will say, sure, here's the first 100. Then I'll say I'll need that one more, and then it'll be from the original 100, right? So let's just increase that a little bit. Whoops. Previous one I think was only about 200 milliseconds or 100 milliseconds, something like that. There's gotta be a hot reload bug in Unreal Engine 4.11. It's taken a long time. Oh, that's not what I want. It's here. I'm getting Reason Preview 5. I'll check and see if anyone's heard that before. And it woke up while I was doing that, so that's good. So let's stop and restart. Now let's do stat start file. And then we will press P. And we'll do stat stop file. Then we will look in the session front end. Load. So here, then we look at player controller input stack. So it's 8 milliseconds when we press that for 10,000 runs. It's looking pretty much like we need to, we strongly need to consider storing references to all of our tiles. Just because doing the TActorItr is just thrashing in memory. It's not, or at least that's what I assume it is. It's taking a lot longer though. I mean, it has a visible stutter, let alone a measurable slowdown. Oh right, I forgot to turn off all the stuff in the project rendering, like motion blur. There we are. It's probably a little bit better for you guys. Okay, so let's stop. And now let's, now that we know for the performance what it is, let's have here, comment out, comment all of this out, and then comment this out. We'll fix it later, but for now we'll just have it be like that. Okay, so now we need to, so now we know what we need to do. We need to keep track somehow of all of the tiles. We now need to think of how we're going to do that. Do we want to have it be part of the level manager, or do we want to have it be something else in the scene? There is that flexibility versus just lots of crap in the middle of nowhere that you have to kind of balance off, right? But I need state for it. I need to store it somewhere because it's just not enough performance otherwise. Do I want to be on the base game mode level? Game mode? Because every actor can access the game mode by doing get game mode and then casting it to the type that you have, which will be the base for this, because it would be for every game mode. Or do I want to have something else? Let's put on the game mode. Why not? If we need to move it, we need to move it. But for now, we'll just have it be like that. I'm not liking this. Well, I mean, it makes sense to have the game tiles be attached to the game mode somewhere because it's a fundamental part of the game, but yeah. Okay then, so let's add a T-array. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. Whoa. That was in a C++ file for a second. I want to forward declare here. I don't want to actually have the entire header file be parsed by a game mode. It doesn't need to know that, it just needs to know that it exists. T-array, a tile. Current level. Let's do level tiles. Sure, why not? And T-array. A piece. Level or print pieces. I could do a search for all pieces. So I know the tiles are gonna be, there's gonna be so many of them in the game that for performance I can't not have, so I can't have them be dealt with earlier because we just tested that, right? But the number of pieces, there's gonna be significantly fewer of those. Will it be small enough that I can get away with just having it like, will there be more like 100 in a level? I don't know. Hi, welcome to the chat. Again, ask whatever questions you like. If anyone has any questions, good. The previous game that we were working on. What am I doing? This is the game that we were working on previously. We're still working on, but we're kind of restarting. So it's like chess, but with design levels. That's what we're working on right now, but we're working on doing it a bit better than we did last time. It was big for 1 versus AI and a bunch of other stuff too. In case anyone's watching the YouTube stream and I'm wondering why I keep repeating myself, this is people come and go. I like to repeat things that are important for them to know. I'm not even sure if I want to do it like this too, because I might want to have individual lists per player, because instead of searching through all pieces from every player in a single go, I might want to have them pre-sorted, so that way player 1's here, or player 0 here, player 1's here, players 2 here, players 3 here. But then again, that's even more state I have to deal with. So what I'm trying to think of right now is how I want to have it all structured for the chess pieces. Since I'm not going to be locking myself to 1 versus AI, now I'm going to be having arbitrary numbers. I need to then have some way of keeping track of the pieces and what they are. The best way would be on game start, or like just before a game starts when the game's loading, see all the spawned actors, which will be placed in the editor. And add them to various lists, but I'm trying to think, do I want to have one list for everything, or do I want to add individual lists per player? And then if I were to do that, I would have to have a array of structures, each structure pointing to a different array. So basically the idea would be I have an array of players, and each individual player structure will have maybe just the list of the pieces, but may have other information as well. That'll probably be the best way to do it. Okay. Funny how talking about that stuff actually makes it a lot easier. So for the game mode, let's do a U-struck. Let's see the syntax of U-struck is. It's been a while since I've used those. Enumerators here. You struck F what do I call it? Player slot? What am I doing? So generated U struck body. This is Epic's macro for just a generic, well, they start adding a bunch of stuff that's required for a structure to be considered, basically. So, T-array, a piece, pieces. So all I'm going to do right now is store the number of pieces. I'm probably going to need to add more information to the player slot, like whether it's an AI or whether it's a human or disabled altogether, and so forth. But for now, I'm just going to keep track of the number of pieces. So now here, instead of having a T-array of pieces, I'm going to have a T-array of F player slot, and then current players. This would be players, or would players imply AI too? Because I'm going to be keeping track of AI too with this, or would that just be confusing? Like, would AI player be considered like proper grammar, right? Valid parlance? And really, I probably should have done a lot more design ahead of time to actually probably take a couple streams and just be like, this is my class, this is my class, this is what I need, this is what I need, this is what I need. Yeah. What did I actually call it in the first one? I actually had a name for this before. It was not just team, it was I think it was player. I think I used player for that. Player number, yeah. So I used player number to define both AI and human, so that's good. And then we gotta close that off, I believe. Structs require, yeah. Structs require to be semicolon ended. Okay. So now we have a slot of the tiles in the level and a slot for the players. The players will be dictated by this structure here, which can have various things, including their own arrays of possible pieces. So let's close this down. I would do a hot reload if I could, but it's just too slow. And again, my game name is called Check It because I'll do anything for a pun. Not really, but... Puns are a driving force of of my decisions. Okay, so now good. Okay. Here now in the game mode, we have to start grabbing these. So oh, what are the events that I can get from game mode anyway? There's handle match waiting to start, which is what I normally use, but I'm gonna see if there's a better one. So game mode. Okay, here's the match states. So entering map is initial state, action is not yet ticking, and the world has not been initialized. Waiting starts next stage, and handle matches waiting starts called when entering. Actions are ticking, but players have not yet spawned in. Transition to next state of player ready to start match returns true, or someone calls start match. In progress in the next state, then waiting post match next state, leaving maps next state. So, So entering map as an initial state, I don't know if it's safe to call stuff here, or if I need to wait till handle match to waiting a start. Because I don't need them to be ticking just to see what they are, but if they're not in the game yet, then that could cause some problems. Like if I call and there's a race condition between actually spawning the actors versus not ticking them, having them be spawned, then that'll be a problem, being like, well, the map has 4,000 tiles, I grabbed 1,000 of them because the other 3,000 haven't spawned yet, right? But, yeah. Although it wouldn't really be like that, it would be probably 0 or all. Chances are it's all done in the same thread. Unless they don't actually give a callback. So let's try game mode, but in the API documentation one. A game mode. So functions, handle match waiting start, I believe is the one we're looking at. Game show overrides to deal with their game specific logic. That's a hint. So handle waiting start seems to be the right one, but what was the other one I was looking for? It was entering a map. Is it like on entering map, or is it just I know it's a flag, but usually when flags change, they fire off an event. If that event is something I can hook onto when it's useful, then that's better, right? Should show gore. I probably won't have to worry about that for my game. A piece of metal giblet? No. It's funny because I'm not really much of a you won't really call me like a non-violent video game developer or whatever, but yeah, it's check it as not one where gore would really make sense. Okay, so here's our stuff. So let's do virtual void handle match waiting to start. And do I need an actual function? Actually, I can just look at my old game mode for that. I'll show you that, because I know I overrode this in the original game mode. Match is waiting to start, and there's no arguments. Okay. And override here. Now, oops. Now let's. It'd be nice if it was quick enough that I can click on this and say generate for me, but it's so slow that it's quicker for me to actually do it myself. void a base chess game mode. Handle match is waiting to start. It's now 10:30. We usually go until about 11. Sometimes a bit later. We'll see. First thing we do is let the everything else that wants to do stuff before the match starts, let it do it when it needs to. So we don't have any half-created pieces of crap, right? And we wanted to do it before whatever we do because we don't want to interrupt anything specifically. No. Okay, so I guess we need to use a TActorItr. Level tiles. Now I can pre-reserve, or I can, you know, just let it expand. I don't know if I want to do either or. Pre-reserve, just a large amount, will save performance, but it will also take a bit more memory if we don't use that much. So, and it's also during a loading screen at this point because handle match winning starts before the player starts the game. So. Now I'm going to want to think of some way to add a number of players to it. But then I would need to create the interface for that at the same time. So I'm going to have to bake it for now, but yeah. Just so I don't get caught in a rut of my own implicit API, I'm going to make it only accept one player. Because, well, you know. So yeah. So one thing I envision for the actual interface is when you're in the lobby and you're starting to make the levels, be it local or whatever network or whatever I happen to allow. The one thing I envision is that you would have the map and you have an overview of any level you're on, and there'd be spawn points at any given location, and you'd be able to drag either player, AI, or none to all of those pieces and start the game that way. So it can be an 8-player map, but you disable 6 of those places and have like even 2 humans spawn right next to each other, right? Or maybe cross spawns or whatever you want. And you can randomize it and have it be hidden or whatever, but that's all layer stuff. I don't want to do all of that before we actually have the base mechanics done, or at least we have some level of base mechanics done, like the camera being able to move. So I'm going to just bake it to having 1 player, and that way I can't just leave it as being 1 player. I have to think about the case of having 10 players or whatever, because 1 player does not a game make, right? That's called solitaire at that point, right? But if I have 2 players and I have 1 versus AI, then I might be in the case of being like, oh, I'll add this and I'll fix it later. I'll add this, I'll fix it later. This one I can't do without interface, so I'll just have to be like that. And I'll take it with a fix me so I can remember to do that. And I'm going to have it be in a region so that way I can force myself to make all the create player code that I'm going to replace in that black box, so I know that I don't have another piece of code over there, right? It's all in here. Little tricks to make myself not do horrible things. Oh, sorry, not struck. F player slots player 1 equals F player slots. So I'm creating a blank one, and then I'm going to do players.add player 1. Do I want the functionality to do a bit of struct? No, I don't. Okay, so one thing I need is the action. I'm trying to think if I want to keep track of the player number as a variable here, or if I just want to have the position in the player slots, sorry, in the players list be the player number. Oh, I do want to have a spawn location. Okay, so I will need to keep track of that. Int 32, spawn number. Player 1 dot spawn number equals 0. Of course, thinking of how I want to store this data. Yeah, I should count from 0. Now let's close this down and let's see if this compiles. There are build errors. Okay, what were the errors? Thanks very much. Okay, that's not useful. Use of undefined type tile. Try this again. Yeah, of course. I kind of wish that the output log would stay up instead of going to the error list. I find that less useful than the log. Edge file, header file. Is there something I need to do over here? I just for declared them. Maybe it's confused by the usestruct. Why would engine utils care? In the game mode, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a tile, because it might be the TActorItr error confusing it. Okay, it was just the it was complaining about the header file, but it was the source file, the CPP file, that actually was confusing it. So now, when I click play, it should generate a list of the tiles. That shouldn't be that long compared to all the other things that Unreal Engine's doing in the background. So player one dot, oh sorry, that's yeah, array, a piece. Current pieces, or sorry, player one pieces. And we'll do a TActorItr, a piece. Oh, what am I doing? I don't know why I'm creating a new one here when I already have one. So I'm going to have some menu and have it provide the data to the game mode as it launches. But for now, I'm just baking in only having one player. And it's going through the level and it's finding all pieces. And it's adding it to the array of pieces. That doesn't say anything about what the pieces are. This base class is the parent of pawn, knight, whatever. I'm just storing the parents, and when I actually go to use it, I don't have to cast it to whatever it needs to be, either a pawn or whatever, by finding out what it is. Which could be a problem, because then we have to figure out what its subclass is. Okay. Oh, crap. I hate doing this. Now over here. Oh, did I actually get the right size? Huh. Okie dokie. Yeah, so this is that. And now we're going to need to create a player pawn. First we need to see what we need to commit. I'm not going to need any of this stuff again. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. We made our choice. We're going to have yeah. Game mode here. Get status. Get add config / default input .ini. Get status. Get commit. Add debug button. Get add source check it private base chess game mode.cpp status .h and then public. And then player controller. And then private.cpp. I'm not sure what happened to the default engine, but we'll see later. Oh, that might have been when I turned off motion blur. Right. commit m. I want to describe what I just did. Set up game mode at level preload event. There we are. And there we are, now default engine. Or sorry, get is it called get diff? Yeah, get diff. Okay, so the interface, so cursor, motion blur is false, but it also has other stuff too. Yeah, so we'll just say it's a motion blur. Disable motion blur for stream. Probably the actual game would give the option of it. Some people want it, some people don't. Let them choose. Let's recompile. And now I will. Ooh, compile failed. I just committed something that didn't build. Crummy. Oh, I didn't add piece. I was going to add that, right? Told myself to remember and I forgot. No. No. There. So that works now. Let's get status. Get commit. After we get add. Check it. Private base chess game mode.cpp. Get commit m fixed compile missing piece header include. Okie dokie. And then the test level has been changed quite a few times, but I really don't care that much. It's going to be changed several other times. And it's test level, right? Okay, so now probably what we want to do is start working on the player controller. So that way we can move around the level without using a fly cam, actually using the in-game cam. Is my... It's not quite keeping up. Is my video supposed to be... It's supposed to be 60 frames. I'll have to check and see if this is actually working or if the preview is just slowed down for whatever reason. Okie dokie, let's, oh, I need to do it from the editor, alright. So, new C++ class, base off pawn. So we'll do, base chess pawn. Because again, we're not. I was gonna say, because again, we're not quite sure what all we want to do with this. And I really should have done with player control too, because we may be different in the menu, may use different commands for that, right, and have it switch. I think I goofed. Oh well. Let's have it be base pawn, whatever. Because we will have a menu thing, it'll probably be different. But for this, we might need to do some changes for, like, you know, battle versus, you know, whatever. And now it's going to be taking a little while to do that compile thing, because for some reason Unreal Engine takes forever to compile these days. And meanwhile, we're waiting for Unreal Engine to unlock. Hi, welcome to the chat. So the idea behind pawns is that there we are. Is that they are objects in the level that players can possess. Not literal chess pawns, but like they can possess and move around a level with it. I like to consider them like a camera manager. Oh, it unlocked. Okay. So it's called base pawn. That's good. Now in Visual Studio, have it here. I like to have Visual Studio set up where it's C++ on one side, headers on the other. But that's just me. Okay, so one thing we need to add is a root components. So we used to use spheres, as you can see from here. The idea is that if you don't have a root component in for an actor for Unreal Engine, it will actually crash if you try to move it around the level. And generally speaking, you want to move your camera around the level, so you have to create some amount, or sorry, some root of some sort. So we'll call it. We'll add it here as a U property. Yeah, it is here component. Check settings, and then we'll have a use sphere component star for pointer. Let's call it root sphere. Let's call it sphere component. What did we call it before? Base component. Let's call it base component. Why not? Okay, now in base pawn, we will have base components. We're actually going to need the object initializer for this. Base components equals object initializer dot create default sub object. All object lowercase apparently. Use sphere component. This and then text base sphere component. And then root sphere. Or base components, sorry. And this sphere radius. Why not? Roots, base components. Set collision enabled, collision enabled, but no collision. Then root component, this is where I equals base component. So now we can move it around the level without without crashing the game, basically. Okay, so we're also going to need to add a an arm and a camera. This one will be spring arm component. This will be camera component. This will be camera boom, which is the movie term for that kind of arm that's kind of the camera's on but kind of is stuck to. And then player camera. Sure, why not? I originally had it called chess player camera, but you know. Now, use spring arm components. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? Camera boom equals object initializer dot create default sub object. Use spring arm component. This text camera boom. For some reason, that even when I was a kid, I used to when I make typos that rhymed. Now I'm not sure if it was just my pun nature coming out early, or it was actually saying something about how I understand Actually says something about how my brain processing now, though. We'll have the camera, like last time, lag out 7 meters behind the object. And we will also have I said it directly, but I'm going to use the actual value now. Doing collision tests will let you kind of automatically spring in as you go under ceilings. I can adjust that later if we have maps that need it. What we used to have was just the camera clip through things. I don't care. It worked fine. Components. This text or player camera. Then player camera equal, or sorry, attached to, which forces it to be attached to the object. So the camera's attached to the boom, boom's attached to the root component. But it's attached in the socket, basically. And the pawn itself is not going to be something visible in the level. It's not like a player. Like, a character is actually a pawn in Unreal Engine. So if you have a... in the third-person template, if you have an actual person walking around, that would be a pawn. And if the player turns, you might want to have the camera move around with it. So, you know, if the player kind of peeks around the corner, the camera will peek around the corner with them. Or whatever you're doing. Some like third person like Mario game, maybe you want the camera to stay still, maybe you want it to move with the character if it moves around. So like if you think of like a Mario 64 style game with a gamepad, right? This would move the camera, this would move the player, but if you turn the player around, do you want the camera to follow it, or do you want to always respect just the right stick? You don't know, right? That depends on the type of game and what you're trying to do. Maybe even parts of the game, some will do one, some will do the other. That's up to you, right? In this case, the pawn is an invisible thing floating around the tiles, so I really don't care. It's just gonna be, it's not actually there. It's not something physical in the world, so I'm gonna have to be false, because if I don't track its rotation, why would I use that tracked rotation or that untracked rotation to actually control the camera? Wouldn't make sense. Alright, so there's that. And again, the arm length is going to be changeable based on, for mouse and keyboard, probably the scroll wheel, but we'll see what the best controls is for that. So for now, let's close this off. And then go to the game mode and do player pawn. What's it called again? Default pawn class, that's what it was. Equals a base pawn static class. We have to include base pawn.h, which will be the header file for this. And now we can probably build, and that might be the last thing I do today unless it crashes. It'll be kind of boring because it's a pawn and a camera that I have no control set up for yet, so it'll just stay at the 000 spot in map and just do nothing. World settings there, and then base pawn there, so if I press play, it'll be down, but I can't do anything with it yet. But it's still in the level, it's at the 50-degree angle that we had before, and yeah. This is the start of having a player controllable camera. So, any questions before I take it off? We've been streaming for about 2.5 hours, a little bit less than that. Well, actually, no, about, it says 2 hours, 36 minutes, but I started about 5 minutes after I started recording. Give some time for people to come in, right? So about 2.5 hours. Most people have gone from the chat, but I'm gonna just give a couple more seconds to see if some people just, you know, want to log in or whatever. Oh, someone joined in. Any questions before I leave? And again, if you like this, be sure to follow me on Twitter and subscribe. Not like subscribe like Twitch does, but subscribe for YouTube, where it's just basically just like get alerts from when I go and post new stuff. Because if I get 100 of those, I can finally have a... Oh, they left. If I get 100 of those, I can actually have a custom channel name, which is better than just some hash of like 32 keys. And yeah, so they left, so thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.
Living life for the next drop. Nurse,